The Iran war is spreading. Here's what shifted. The map is starting to change. So here's what actually shifted in the last 24 hours. Not a my kitchen looks slightly less tragic kind of shift, but the kind that makes analysis start looking at the map differently. Yesterday, the focus was largely Iran, Israel, and the United States. Today, more countries entered the picture. Hello, this is Punching Up with Tyler Shane. If you know me from a previous life or know me currently, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Now, Egypt is suddenly in the frame after drone attacks on the port of Damani early Tuesday morning around 3 a.m. local time, according to initial reportings from Egyptian authorities. Damani isn't just another dot on the map. It's one of Egypt's busiest Mediterranean shipping hubs, meaning disruption there can ripple far beyond Egypt's borders. The Saudis appear to have crossed an important threshold, and Jordan reported that late Monday night, shortly after 2200 p.m. local time, its air defenses intercepted several incoming missiles aimed at United States positions. European governments issued new warnings, and China publicly denied reports that it might supply Iran with military equipment, which, in geopolitics terms, makes the denial part of the story. None of these events alone changes the entire war. Taken together, though, they suggest the conflict may be widening. I'm not saying we've reached some historical turning point. I'm saying these are the kinds of developments historians often recognize only in hindsight. So let's break down the change. What's still unclear and why it matters. Saudi Arabia just changed the equation. U.S. defense officials and regional outlets reported that Saudi Arabia joined U.S. strikes against Iran backed militias inside Iraq. Now, Riyadh hasn't publicly identified which senior official authorized the move, but operations of this scale typically run through the Minister of Defense, the General Staff Presidency, and ultimately the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Whether this was a one-time operation or the beginning of a deeper military coordination remains unclear. And that uncertainty matters. Saudi Arabia isn't just another country, it's a major US security partner, one of the world's largest oil exporters, and one of the most influential Arab states. When a country with that level of influence changes its military posture, other governments begin recalculating their own decisions. That's often how regional conflicts expand. Not because countries suddenly want a larger war, but because every new move forces everyone else to reconsider their own. Now, there is a story within the story. Here's the subplot that may matter just as much. President Trump said the United States Saudi operations was coordinated with Iraq. Iraqi's National Security Council publicly rejected that claim, calling the strikes an unacceptable violation of Iraqi sovereignty. That disagreement isn't a footnote, it's a fork in a narrative. If Iraq approved the operation, it suggests one kind of regional alignment. If Iraq didn't approve it, it suggests something very different. In international politics, disagreements like this often reveals more than the headlines themselves. Here's another question. Why the shipping lanes matter? Now, this isn't a separate story. It's the same story viewed from a wider angle. Now, the Strait of Hormuz, the Red Sea, the Bab al Mandab Strait, that is between Yemen and Djibouti in Africa, and Egypt's Suez Canal form one interconnected global shipping network. When pressure increases at one of these choke points, shipping companies don't just worry about that location. They reroute cargo, ensure cost rises. The energy markets react almost immediately. The battlefield isn't only their missile lands, it's also where global trades move. And when trade moves differently, the entire world feels it. China is watching. China's involvement isn't loud, it's quite deliberate and rooting in long term strategic interests. Over the past week, several regional outlets and Western intelligence briefings suggested China might supply additional military equipment to Iran. Now, Beijing publicly denies these reports, calling them unfounded. The denial matters because it signals how China wants to be perceived, regardless of what's happening behind the scenes. What we do know is this: China is Iran's largest oil customer, its biggest trade partner, and a key participant in the 25-year China Iran cooperation agreement covering economics, energy, and security cooperation. At this same time, China maintains major relationships with Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the Gulf states. That creates a balancing act. China wants stable energy markets because its economy depends on it. It also wants to maintain regional influence and preserve relationships across multiple sides of the conflict. Now, whether Beijing choose diplomacy, intelligent cooperation, and simple continued observation, is decisions carry uh, significant global economic weight. I apologize. And as always, double check political details with trusted reporting. Here's what I'm watching. Instead of pretending I have a crystal ball, which tragically this channel still refuses to send me, here are the five indicators I'll be watching most closely. One, does Egypt become a recurring target? One incident can be isolated, repeated incidents suggest a broader pattern. Two, does Saudi Arabia deepen its military role? One operation is one thing, sustained involvement is another. Three, does Iraq move closer to Washington or further away? Its public criticism could shape future cooperation. Four, do European countries expand naval protection for commercial shipping? That would signal growing concerns about economic disruption. Five, do major shipping companies begin rerouting vessels on a large scale? If they do, the consequences would stay in the Middle East. They'll spread into supply chains, energy prices, and economics around the world. Because the economic battlefield doesn't care about borders, it cares about routes. Conclusion: wars rarely stay frozen in place. Wars rarely stay frozen in place. They evolve through a series of conflicts. In just one day, the story expands beyond Iran, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Iraq, Europe, China, and the region's shipping lanes, all because more significant parts of the picture. The question now is whether these developments represent a temporary escalation or the beginning of a broader regional conflict. You tell me. Punching up isn't here to tell you what to think. It's here to give you the context you need to decide for yourself. I am Tyler Woodson, and I'm signing off.